We are back with the Buffalonian podcast for a wild card betting on the Bills for the first betting on the Bills of 2026. So things are moving along pretty quickly here. It's a nerve-wracking one. Normally the wild card isn't so nerve-wracking for the Bills, but we're about there. We're about there. We're going to dive right into it, get you all the details and everything you need to know. But I'm Joe Cali. As always, I'm joined by none other than Dom Loss. And Dom, we talked about this game a little bit earlier in the week. So we did a little preview before we exactly knew the 100% injury situation. Now we know the injury situation, so we'll be able to kind of do it justice, if you will. But how are you feeling now? Has the feeling changed at all from when we talked earlier in the week? Or are you still pretty, pretty scared about this thing? Not scared. I don't know if scared is the right word, but I feel like you and I were both pretty nervous about
I'm
it.
still like a 5 on a confidence scale. I'm like a 5.56 out of 10. Like,
Yeah.
again, if it was in Buffalo, I probably would say 8, but it's not. It's in Jacksonville, and Jacksonville's playing really good ball. So I would still say it's. You know what? I'll say it's a 5.5. I would say it was a 6 if we would know who actually was going to kick the ball for the Bills, but we still just don't. And Prater didn't practice on Friday, but apparently that's not unusual. But I don't know.
Yeah, Prater practicing like that, I guess, I don't know. I worry about the kicking situation because they have the ultimate kicking situation where they're able to absolutely shut you down from even 68 yards out, right? Like with Cam Little. So we'll get into that, but I'm feeling pretty much the same. I'm kind of with you. Like, I do think they're going to win the game, to spoil my prediction a little bit, not to get into the exact prediction, but I do think the Bills are going to win and advance to the divisional round. It's just how close would that win be? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess that's where we're at. But without further ado, let's get into this thing. The offensive game plan. I'm going to be honest with you. Thinking about it, thinking about the games that could be similar, right, to what they're doing in this one, what they have to do in this one. And I got to say, I don't know about you, but the Bengals game in my ears is ringing a little bit. I don't like the offensive game plan there, or like how the Jags defense is a little better. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the Bengals defense is the bottom of the bottom, but game plan wise for both offense and defense, I think you can draw some parallels. But I think the tight ends are going to be huge because they're your number one pass catchers anyway. So Kincaid practicing again, he's just going to live on a limited participant to just keep him going. But I mean, we got to take what we can get at this point. Dawson Knox is going to be a big pass catcher, I think. Maybe even Jackson Hawes. It might be a big tight end game. Ty Johnson not being healthy is a little nerve wracking for me because I think in the pass game he can elevate you a little bit. But Sweet Baby Ray, also pretty solid in some categories, maybe an all-pro in some categories. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. But yeah, so I think it's not going to be down the field passing. You might get one big one or a couple big ones from Brandon Cooks like you saw, but it's going to be kind of tight ends, maybe in the slot, just kind of chipping their way down the field and moving their way down. What do you think it's going to look like?
Yeah, I think, first of all, the Bills, I know this is just, you say this about every week, but if the Bills are able to successfully run the ball on this Jacksonville team, I think it's very valuable because I think it sets up their play action better. And
yes,
the Jaguars, I know this is kind of earlier in the season when they went to London, but when they played the Rams got into very heavy personnel with 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends, and passed out of it and got a lot of success. And I think the Bills can really, replicate that game plan because I think they can run the ball really well out of those personnels. And then all of a sudden you fake it or you just run pass plays out of it. And Knox has come along and been solid. Haas has been solid all year. And then Kincaid, like, the team's just different when he's out there. Like, I just don't know what to say other than, like, all the numbers support that when Dalton Kincaid is out there, like, Josh Allen numbers are number 1 in the league in a lot of categories, especially the efficiency metrics. And when he's not, they go mostly down to like league average or a little bit below. So he's a huge factor in this game. And I think they can have a lot of success because this isn't a great pass rushing Jags team, right? This is a team that I think is going to do kind of what the Bills might do is like, they might send pressure. And that's where the Ty Johnson injury, I think, is massive. Like, especially on third down, the Bills have not done a great job all year on always being right in their protection. They've been fooled quite a bit of times. I don't know if they have a tell that defenses are just picking up on more this year, but how many times have we seen just like gaffes and free rushers at Josh? And historically, he had done a good job of making at least the first guy miss. This year, not quite so much. And also with the foot injury, like, you don't want to be living like that. So I think the Ty Johnson injury is really massive. And he and Kincaid, I think, really do need to play, because I think Ty Johnson helps limit the fear of, oh my God, we're just going to get blitzed and Allen's going to be under siege. And Kincaid's like the safety valve. And again, you saw it last week in limited production. Like, I know it's against the Jets, but like, just finds a way to get a couple explosive plays out of him. Like, that's supposed to play element.
Yeah. And that's why, I mean, seeing him on the injury report this week sent a shiver down my spine because of that fact. Like, your offense is different without him out there. And it's the same as Dalton Kincaid, right? It's better with both of those guys out there on the field. So that's going to be huge to see whether or not they play. I think Ty Johnson still has a chance to play, if I'm not mistaken.
It seems like he's going to give it a go. I don't know what they're going to do if he doesn't play. Like, someone's like, oh, Frank Gore's going to play. I was like, I don't think they're going to. I honestly, God, might think they just go with Ray Davis and James Cook and
then you have Reggie Gilliam you can throw in if you have to on certain things, right? Like, yeah, I guess.
I just don't see like Frank Gore doesn't play special teams like that. I don't know. I don't think he adds that much. But I will say too, it's going to be interesting. Josh Palmer kind of looking like he's not going to play with that ankle.
Yeah.
There's all this talk about like, if Prater does play, you do have 2 practice squad elevations, right? And it seems like one of them will be probably, maybe an edge, Andre Jones, right? To keep TJ Sanders inside. Like, would the other one be Mecole Hardman, or do they trust Keon to do that? I don't know.
If I had to put money on it, it's Hardman. I think they'd go that route. I'm not gonna lie to you.
We'll see.
Not to not put the trust in the kid, but locking yourself in a dog cage doesn't look great, But anyway, I digress. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the offense. And it's kind of would you consider it storybook? Because like, this is where the drought was broken, technically, right? You think back to the end play, Nate Peterman throws the pick. Tyrod Taylor gets knocked out. Ty in some circles. I don't know. I think this time they have it in them. But are you nervous at all, like bad juju wise? Jacksonville's kind of always had the Bills number. Like, I guess there's a cult of fans saying, cult is an interesting word, but there's a group of fans that are worried about the bad juju of Jacksonville and like how they've had the Bills number. But then there's like another group of fans who are like, oh, it's just injury wise and the way this team's built this year scare you against this Jacksonville team. Like, where are you residing somewhere in the middle of those two? Like, do you believe in the bad juju, or are you just more on this season?
I don't believe in any of that. Like,
I should have known who I was asking, but
someone was like, oh man, the Bills haven't won a road playoff game in '92, and I was like, dude, some of these guys weren't even born in '92. Like, who cares? If you're going to say, oh, they haven't run a road playoff game in the McDermott era, that I think is fair, because like a bunch of guys have been here. Yes, they haven't had success on the road in the playoffs. Like, you could pull from that. I think pulling from like, oh, like it's different. Like if it was like a home game, like when the Bills were hosting in Indianapolis, it's like, oh, they haven't won a home playoff game since '95. I was like, you know what? That's probably a fair thing to be like, this is a little weird because they haven't had success. This is like, who cares? That bothers me. It's like Jacksonville. Listen, Jacksonville in '96 beating the Bills in the playoffs at home and 2017 on the road
has nothing to do with this current team. Nothing to do
with this. And listen, the 9-6 loss, like people are like, oh, Josh Allen's never won in Jacksonville. It's like, okay, he's played there one time. Like, okay, that's a pretty significant sample size. It's like, okay, like they beat the Jags last year. I don't care. Like, that Jags team sucked. And there's a completely different team. The same thing with this Bills team. So I think you just got to live in the present. At the end of the day, like, what concerns me is this Jaguars team is very good and they're legit, right? I don't think the Jaguars are fraudulent. Like, I think last year Denver got smoke blown up to what about all their numbers and defense and all that, and they got
run defense, and the Bills ran for like 200 yards or whatever.
That was different last year. This year it's like, no, Jacksonville's legitimately good. And they have a very optimistic defense. I know we didn't talk about on the offense. We got to go defense, but The offense does have to take care of the football. I do think this defense could be got because, again, they don't have a good pass rush. So if Josh is just really good, which is just kind of the
playoff
norm
Josh
of the
would point, right? Yeah.
like, and doesn't turn the ball over, and they're able to, like, have success on the ground. I don't know. I think the Bills could put up 30 points. I don't know. As long as they take care of the football and they can get a sort of running game that's at least consistent and has its moments, like, I think 30 points is very doable in this game for the Bills.
Yeah, 30 points normally wins the Bills football games too. So, I mean, that's a good trend to look at there. But before we get into the defense, we're going to take a quick timeout because, we have to remember to do that. We have a history of not, but we'll be right back. We'll be right back with more of the Buffalonian podcast after this. Welcome back to the Buffalonian podcast. Betting on the Bills 2025-26, the wild card. We're talking about the Bills offense, Jacksonville, bad juju if you believe in that stuff. Kind of arrived at we don't from years past especially. But let us know what you think. Comment down below. Leave a review, whatever you want to do. But now to the defense, Tom. The defense, I think, has been the best part of this team the past couple weeks, in all seriousness. That Philly game has been, I mean, it kind of lives in your head, right? You think about those stats there, like 17 total yards of offense in the second half for the Eagles. And I know their offensive coordinator's pretty inept this year. Don't get me wrong. So I know that might be a little better than it actually is. But 5 punts on every possession, 5 total drives, all punts, right? So like that last game that the starters were out there, and you can even look back to the Patriots game, what they were able to do in the second half. The Browns game, like they've held teams to low numbers this year. So like, I guess that's the part I might be more confident in than the offense, right? I think that's the story of the season. This is just a microcosm of it, but I didn't like seeing Daquan Jones on the injury report. Matt Milano practicing in full was good. Like, there are things kind of trending up. Maxwell Hairston being down is a little scary for me, but Trey White has been playing some of his best football this year, right? Towards the end. So I don't think it's all panic. I think this Bills defense is going to be able to kind of continue what they've been able to do. And I think they're going to make Trevor Lawrence go short. I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but it was revealed that Liam Cohen talks to Trevor Lawrence until there's like 15 seconds left on the play clock and diagnoses what's in front of him, right? And teams have tried shifting in those last 15 seconds, throwing something different at him to confuse him after Cohen stops relaying information to him. It hasn't been all that successful throughout the year. It's been somewhat here and there, hit or miss. Do you see McDermott possibly trying to do something like that? And I mean, I could, because look at what he did against the Ravens last year. We were talking about this earlier this week. Made them play their game and make their mistakes after taking away one of their big things. They sold out against the run. So I think McDermott's going to coach a good game. But do you think he's going to switch things around in the last 15 seconds? Or is that kind of a, I don't know. Like, is that even worth it?
Yeah, they're going to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, Bills have always been the Bills, for 2 reasons, have always been one of the just premier disguise teams in the NFL because they had 2 all-pro safeties that were awesome, and like a Hyde and Jordan Poyer that could play different roles and all that. 2, like, they don't quite, like, their secondary is good. Like, I think that Poyer's coming back, played really well. Bishop's been really solid. Like, obviously T. White, Benford, even Taron Johnson. Like, their secondary is good, but they don't quite have, like, I think the pass rush and maybe the athleticism in the back end to just be like, all right, we're just going to show them that we're in 2-man, freaking beat it. Like, they just don't quite have those horses. So, yeah, I do expect them to disguise. I don't know if I expect them to completely sell out to stop the run. Jacksonville isn't a great rushing team. A lot of their numbers are pretty average to below average, like an explosion and all that. Now
they're not an explosive run team, and that's where the Bills give up the runs pretty much. So
obviously the Bills' run defense is awful, but who knows? Like I think they've been playing better lately. It's going to be, I think Shaq Thompson's going to play. I don't think he had an injury designation with the neck, so I think that's big. I just think for this team, it's how do you get pressure on Trevor Lawrence, especially if your 4-man rush isn't getting it done. But their left tackle is banged up. Didn't look 100% in practice. Didn't practice, and then didn't look that great in the pass sets in practice. It looked like so. I think that could be a weakness, especially if that's Greg Rousseau, putting some pressure on him with his length. I think this could be a
Hint.
big Rousseau game. So, and Milano's peaking at the right time. And you just got a lot of guys peaking on the right time. This defense, they're playing their best ball in the season. But I think it's important for them to tackle very well. Etienne's very slippery and has really good speed. BTJ, obviously one of the fastest receivers in the league. Myers, they have a good collection of weapons, and they like to attack the middle of the field. So I just think the Bills have to be really solid. And yes, they have to stop the run, but I also think it's important for them to just keep, as you said, keep everything in front of them. And if the 4-man rushes, you have to find a way to heat up Trevor Lawrence, because that's when he makes some, goofball decisions. He's as talented as anyone in the league. He can make any throw. Really, he can. 6'6", but he has a tendency to be, golden retriever brain sometimes and make some what the hell is that decisions or fumble. Like he has had fumbling issues. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills, trust their secondary and say, screw it, we're going to blitz and we're going to play man coverage behind it and believe in our guys in the secondary to hold up long enough where we can get home. So I think blitzing them, especially because you saw that, 2 weeks ago against Indianapolis. Like, I know it's a division rival, but Indianapolis blitzed the crap out of Trevor Lawrence, and it was pretty effective for most of the game.
It was very effective. I think that's a game you look back on there, and even this is where I kind of draw the comparison of the Bengals offense a little bit, and they have some more popping talent on their team, and like Chase Brown, it's kind of similar, I think, game plan wise for your defense, but also it's a revenge game, not for anyone Bills wise, but Joey Bosa, when he was on the Chargers. Sure.
Rape like that.
Listen. We've talked all about the revenge games. Okay, this is one that hasn't been talked about. Can even is this a Chad Hall revenge game on the Bills? Is he still on the staff for the Jaguars? I don't know, but Joey Bosa had that meltdown in the Chargers game where they gave up that lead. So Joey Bosa's got a lot to prove against these Jags. So he's gonna want to keep him alive. So we'll see what happens there. We're gonna get into X factors and MVPs in the final score coming up right after this. Dom may have hinted at mine, but we'll get to that on the other side. We'll be right back with more of the Buffalonian podcast after this. Welcome back to the Buffalonian podcast. Offense, defense, check on this episode of Betting on the Bills. It's time to head now to the X Factor. Dom, you 100% did predict mine. You predicted mine. Greg Rousseau. I think he's been eating it alive towards the end of the season, and he's getting a team that, like you said, the tackles situation on that side, not too great. So he's going to be able to probably do some things, and really, like you said, you need to disrupt Trevor Lawrence, and I think he's going to be a big reason the Bills are able to do that. For the first half of the season, it was pressure, no sacks. And lately he's been getting back there and really getting some pressure and hitting the quarterback too. So I'm all in on Greg Rousseau in this matchup. I think he's going to make Trevor Lawrence's life a living hell back there. What do you think? Who's your X factor in this matchup?
I'll go 2 players. I know it's kind of cheating, but I think the rookie defensive tackles between TJ Sanders and Deion Walker, especially if they put, use a 4th edge to put Sanders inside, which I think he's been playing a lot better inside, growing and developing. Deion Walker has been really solid all year. I think those 2 guys are critical, right? Because with Daquan maybe banged up, those guys could get a big snap load, and I'd like to see them, continue their development. And this is pressure, right? As a rookie, this is their first taste of postseason experience. So I'm excited to see. I think they're going to be massive if the Bills are going to have success stopping the run and making Trevor Lawrence and Jacksonville execute a drop back passing game. And I think, again, if the Bills don't really want to blitz and want to try it, they could rush forward. Those guys in the middle, really condensing the pocket and pushing the pocket, I think could be big too. So I think those 2 guys are massive X factors, because I think they can if they play well, the Bills can really control the line of scrimmage on defense, and I think that gives them a critical advantage.
Yeah, I like it. MVP, who's standing on the top of the mountain? Who gets the Bills past the Jaguars in this matchup? I got to say.
I know it's easy to say, but I'm not going Josh Allen.
Okay.
I'm
going. Who are you going?
Kincaid.
I was going to go Kincaid as well. He's got to play. He's got to be on the field. He's got to play really well.
I think he goes for over 100 yards and a touchdown. I think this is his moment. He's had, good postseason moments. and the job against Kansas City. So I think we talk about revenge. Like this is kind of his revenge too for the the postseason failure of last year. Like I wonder. Hopefully that's not in his head, but this is an opportunity for him to right some wrong. So I'm excited for Kincaid. I think this could be a huge game, and I think it just I think every time he goes out there, he shows the value to his team. It's like it just hopes that nothing goes wrong and he can play the whole game.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. God forbid any receiver can get over 100 yards in a game because that can't happen on this Buffalo Bills offense.
Brandon Cooks, come on.
He's had like 2 games where he hasn't dropped anything. Okay, I don't want to hear it. And one of them, never mind. I digress. I'm not even gonna get into that because I'll just get really heated.
Bad juju.
Yeah. I'll get really heated, and that's not good for the program here. But yeah, it's got to be Kincaid. When he's out there, he executes. I like the over 100-yard prediction. I want to say his over-under is like 19.5, like on Wednesday or something like that. Like it was something really low. Like I want to say, or it might have been his longest reception. It might be 30.5.
It has to be the longest reception. That's
30.5 for his longest reception. So I'm going to hammer that, I think, at this point. So I listen. Even Dawson Knox can get in there. The tight end room, I'll go even as the MVP, right? Like I'll just say that because to be a little different than you. But now for the predictions. I got to say, it's going to be a close one. I don't like the fact that even if you do hold them in their own territory, Cam Little does have a chance to still put 3 on the board for him. So I think they're going to be able to stay close, even if it's not looking great for them with field goals and such. Give me the Bills 35 over 30. It's a good track there. And the Jags 28. I think it's close, but I don't think they can get it done.
Yeah, I think the Bills are gonna go up late, get the stop on defense, and they're gonna win 31-27.
No, my goodness. We're in the same 10-point family there. So there we go.
The Cincinnati game was a good point. I just think it's kind of similar to that. Where I think the offense is going to have to be good, which I think they will. I think the defense, I think, will be fine, but I think they're just going to they're going to bleed some points, and it's up to them to get some turnovers or get some critical stops. And I think they'll get one just enough to get the win.
Maybe a pick 6 from Christian Benford again. That'd be pretty cool, right? But yeah, it's similar to that game in my brain, and I thought they were going to win that game, so I think they're going to win this game. But without further ado, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Buffalonian Podcast, Betting on the Bills. Could be the last one. Hopefully it's not. Knocking on wood as I'm saying this, so that doesn't jinx us. Bad juju, all that on this episode. But Dom, how do we always end these, buddy?
Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills.